in Buddhism, when we teach the lay people, generally the basic foundation of teaching we call the 5 precepts, which might be not the right translation to use it. It's called 5 Sīla. Sīla in Pali means that cool, means that normal, means that natural, means the dharma. So 5 practices are more or less, it is 5 education, I would say. Because the 5 practices, the 5 education is that the first one is panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Generally, they just translate as no killing, but there is no such thing as a no killing in that word. It is saying that I dedicate myself to study of the lesson of avoiding killing some living beings. So that is the first education. So because I dedicate myself to study, so that is a word in sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Veramani means avoiding, pata means cutting, severing, pana means breath. So it just means that I will educate myself whether it is a pro and con of killing or harming someone or some being, some creature, some living beings. So that's all. Whether you have to see that should or shouldn't. Because for example, if you are a military man and you have to protect your border, and because you happen to be a Buddhist military, let's say, and if there is your invader came, your enemy came, so what you do? Oh, I have just taken my precept from my teacher this morning, so I shouldn't do and I shouldn't killing. Oh, so let's pass by, let's take over my sovereignty. So it can be. In the responsibility of a military, yeah, of course, his work is that he have to protect his country for the rest of his populations. So it was his task. So he have to do that. If he need to kill, but take responsibility about it. Sometimes in all the houses, we have a problem with termites. So what I do? If the termites come in my kuti, in my abode, because I have a lot of books, and maybe a termite likes that and then come and stay with me. So should I just spread my loving kindness? Oh, poor termites, okay, we are all sensual beings, we should live together and let all the book is eaten by the termite? No, you cannot. Because in that sense, you have to ask someone's help to eradicate the termites as well. So it doesn't mean that in absolute not killing is not possible at all. Because even when we breathe in, I don't know how many bacteria is already dead. When we are sitting, when we are doing, I don't know what is going on. There's a lot of his dead is always there. But intentionally, you shouldn't avoid whatever the harming and killing others. That is the first education the Buddha asks as a 5 precept. The second education is adinadana. I dedicate myself to study the lesson of not taking which is not belong to me. So it means that respect, ownership. And generally, from the childhood, when we are born, do we come with, do we born with our weapons to kill someone? No. When we are born, do we have this idea of stealing someone's belonging? No, you see. That is a normal humanity, we don't do that. The third is that I should study the lesson of avoiding violating human rights. Kamis michachara, generally they translate as sexual misconduct. I think that is a little bit of a off translation. Because kami is that, of course, sometimes it can be translated as a sexual, but it's also translated as a sensual. But here is a kami su. Su is a plural in Pali, means that all the sensual, every sensual, which means that in Pali, that phrase is for the 5 sensuality. It is from eyes, nose, ear, mouth, and the body sensual. So you should not violate, someone's right through these 5 senses. Which means that this modern day, this is called human rights. So he said that you should respect the human rights. That is the third precept. The fourth is that musavada, I should dedicate myself to the study, the lesson of not telling lie, and not telling fake news, not telling all these lies altogether is a 4, slander, the bad words or whatever it is. So again, that is also from our birth, we don't know how to do that. The fifth is that not taking any intoxicant, not taking the lesson that not consuming any goods, any stuff, which make your mind lost. But these days we call intoxicant, it's a drug. Actually, alcohol. It is not alcohol there. The surah, generally, they just easily translate as alcohol, not actually. The surah means that which make you abnormal behavior, abnormal way of thinking. Majja means that which you are so drunk that you are not able to think properly. So whatever substances, it could be alcohol, it could be drug, any substance, anything which can make your mindless, you should avoid that. So these are the 5 lessons. It's called 5 Precepts. Sīla means that the 5 lessons of life. So that is as you want to practice Buddhism, and these are the 5 lessons the Buddhist monks will teach as the first place. For example, you will be asked as a ritual, as part of ritual, maybe if you want to say that you want to show yourself as a Buddhist, what you should do. They said that, okay, pay respect to the Buddha. And you say, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. And people always think that, okay, I will pay respect to the Buddha. But Buddha doesn't need respected. Buddha is very different from all kinds of God, I guess. He's not God, so he doesn't need respect. Because for many, one who has God, you said Allah, you said you praise the God, but Buddha said that you don't have to praise me. So what the ancestor has been written, this Namo Tassa, basically means that Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo means that I bow. You can use it as a bow. But the word bow in Pali, it is the same word as a mana, same as word as a mind. It's the same word. It means that I recollect, I behave, I practice, I understand that Bhagavato, the compassionate one. I understand that I am not alone in this world. I have to live with others. So this is not my world. We have to be conscious that how do we live with others. Of course, in order to success, you need to have a passion. But the Buddha says that passion need to be divided by common passion. That is become compassion. So if you have a compassion, means that you are placing yourself in middle of the others, and you are the part of the bigger part. You are the part and parcel of the whole cosmos, and that is the whole idea of the first way of realization. That is a Bhagavato, and that is what we call is under nature of the Buddha. The second is Arahato. Arahanta means that I will then, once you have to live with the society with others, then I should learn myself. I should be trained myself that I shouldn't be selfish. I shouldn't decide everything based on my ego. So that is purifying your mind by looking at the reality that you have to live with others. So here we have so many people, so I just can't behave that way I wanted to. If I want to take my robe and be naked, which is if I'm in a room, it's no problem. But if I'm with somebody, so I have to respect their right as well. So that is a way that I have to take care of yourself. That is Arahato. Samma Sambuddhassa, which is a self-enlightened one, is translated like that. But actually, it means that you have to understand yourself. Means that it's a cognize. It's a cognition from inner you, understanding the way how you bring the things into calm. The Samma is a calming. In a way that how you adjust yourself to able to live with the society. That is a word, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, which is globally used as a part of the Buddhist praying. And a lot of people think that we are praying to the Buddha, but actually in Buddhism you can't pray. The Buddha won't answer you. So it is about how you understand yourself in how you place yourself in the society. Then Buddha says that take refuge. Take refuge is that Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, and for the second time and the third time, Dutiyampi and Tatiyampi, so on. But when you think that Buddhang saranang gacchami, I take refuge to the Buddha, and people immediately think the Siddhartha. And the Siddhartha is already, he was already nirvana. And it means that he is not a human anymore. He is not a god. He has already destroyed, his body is destroyed, his mind is no more, he cannot combine these things and become a Buddha again. So it's already all destroyed. So how can you say that Buddha will come and help you? There's no way that Buddha can help you. So what is basically means that I take Buddha means that awakening is a wisdom. I take my wisdom as my refuge. Means that I take my wisdom as a guideline of living my life. That is the first one. The second one is Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. I take refuge to the Dharma. Basically means that I take the principle of upholding the equanimity, the middle path, is the guideline of my living. The Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang, then I take refuge in a Sangha. Sangha, they always think of the monk, but in Pali, Sangha just means a community. So it means that I take community as a basis of my way of my living. So if you are living with all the bad people, if you are only the one good people, you can't survive there. You have to be bad people as well to survive there. So, if you go to the European culture, if I want to survive there, I have to behave like a European. If you are in Thailand, so you have to behave like a Thai. So this is how we go around. So this is a Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. So they take refuge. Then after this taking refuge, then you are given to ask this 5 precept, or the 5 normality, or the 5 dharma, or the 5 coolness, or the 5 education, or 5 lessons of life. So once you take these lessons of life, you understand that how you should behave yourself in the middle of what is going on in your life. The main idea is that respect others and respect the society. Because all these 5 education is all about other people. It's all about how you put yourself amid other people in the society. And that is all what we call is it's a Buddhist practice for beginners.